Good morning, Cancer, and welcome to Hooded Priestess Tarot. I'm Jodine, your host. Let's do a tarot reading for you, and we're going to start off with the Urban Crow Oracle to set the tone and see what you're dealing with. And then we'll do a Celtic Cross with the Mind's Eye Tarot, and if we need to do any clarification, we'll use the Tarot of the Abyss. How's it going for Capricorn? I hope you're having, or Capricorn, how's it going for Cancer? I'm sorry. I hope you're having a good week. All right, for Cancer, what do we have? We have commitment. It's a beautiful card, Cancer. You're making a nest with somebody. You're going to start a family. Okay, and what's on the bottom of the deck is mischief. That's a playful mischief. This is a card about crows liking to pull the tails of other animals. Sometimes they're doing it to distract them, but most of the time they're doing it just to play. And you might be having some fun in your life. Let's read this card of commitment. It's an 8, and an 8 is mastery, and it's hard work, and it's taking authority over something. This card here, mischief, is 31, so that's 3 plus 1 is 4. It's a card of stability, reliability, dependability. And it feels like everything's pretty solid by you so far. Okay, commitment says, nature photographer June Hunter has documented the lives of a pair of crows she calls George and Mabel, and their commitment to one another. When George's beak broke due to an accident, his loving and faithful partner Mabel took over to ensure that George was fed and protected. When they coupled up, they agreed for better or worse, in sickness and in health. This loving pair remains committed. The commitment card asks that you examine areas where you have entered into an obligation. Are you ready to put in the work if needed? Are you willing to sacrifice something to ensure that you stay true to your word? If it is a goal you are committed to seeing through to the completion, you are willing to offer your time. Are you willing to offer your time and resources? Think about the commitments you have made. Do they raise your vibration just thinking about them, or do you feel a heaviness associated with the situation? Of course, we all have our moments of feeling less than enthusiastic. The question you may need to consider is if those moments of angst and resentment outweigh the love and support your commitment brings to your situation. Okay. That was an interesting take on the commitment card. A lot of interesting questions there, Cancer. I love the Crow Tarot, or the Crow Oracle, because it always takes a concept and turns it around from so many different angles. This one turned that definition of commitment around in ways I didn't see coming. Okay, so let's do your Celtic Cross with Tarot of the Mind. All right, and this is for Cancer during this month. Now I'm going to check in with Cancer once this month. So what is it that Cancer is dealing with in this month, or is there a message about what Cancer needs to know for this ensuing month? Let's find out. All right, Cancer, this is you. You are represented by Justice. And what's crossing you is the Two of Pentacles. Is there an indecision about something? Well, Justice seeks to balance, right, and be equal and fair. Here she's got 2 pentacles that she needs to balance too. All right. In your past, we have the Page of Pentacles. Something was started in the past, some project or something you started. What's in the future? King of Wands. You're going to be doing something really big and maybe bold. That's going to draw a lot of attention. All right. What you know is, the Tower, Cancer. Interesting. What you don't know is the Page of Swords. We got a lot of youthful energy in this reading. How you see yourself is the Knight of Wands. There's an action taker right there. The second fastest action taker. And how others see you is the Queen of Wands. Wow. Lots of fire energy on this table, Cancer. A little Aries energy there. A possible outcome is the Hierophant, speaking of commitments. Oh, that's not the possible outcome. The Hierophant is in the position of your hopes and fears. The next card is the possible outcome. I need more coffee this morning, Cancer. So this is, the Hierophant is representing your hopes and fears. And now here's the possible outcome. Ooh, the Five of Wands. And what's on the bottom of this deck is the Fool. So there's some energy of doing something totally new here in the background. All right, Cancer, those are the cards for your reading. And now let's take a look at them. So in your position right now, you are seeking to balance something out, have something be fair, equal. Maybe you're a mediator. Are you a mediator for something? I wonder. But what challenges you are these 2 pentacles that keeps juggling back and forth. Are you having trouble keeping something in balance? I wonder what these 2 pentacles are. Got a couple of pages on the table. Let me draw a clarifier on that 2 of Pentacles. Tarot of the Abyss. We're looking at Cancer's Celtic Cross reading. They're crossed by the 2 Pentacles. Can we please get clarifiers on Cancer's 2 of Pentacles? Clarification on Cancer's 2 of Pentacles. Thank you. I have the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Wands, who's already here. He's over here. That's how you see yourself. The Ace of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the Five of Cups. You're trying to do something about some sort of heartache. Maybe you need to have a conversation about some heartache, or you're trying to see clearly in your mind what that heartache was all about. There might be some grief or some loss. You must be going back and forth on something, Cancer. You're trying to make some decision. You can't make up your mind because you're going back and forth. Because you want to do something. You want to take some sort of action. I would imagine move on from where you are. And what's on the bottom of the deck here is It's the wise one, but it's in the position of the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is also on the table. So the Hierophant is on the table in the position of the possible outcome. Are you seeking counsel, maybe? Are you in a situation where you're dealing with are we looking at a divorce here? Let's keep going. In the past, we had the Page of Pentacles. So, in the past, you're planting a seed for a new thing. And it was looking good. In the future, we've got the King of Wands. Some new thing was planned for. But then you experience some sort of tower, which that new thing must have been built on some sort of illusion. Let me see your tower. Please show me the tower for Cancer. You built a brand new thing, but it was not solid, not stable. Please show me the tower for Cancer. Show me the tower. Thank you. So for this tower, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, the Ten of Swords. It's the Wicked Ten of Swords too, and the World. Something came to a really bad end. Kind of like it was the luck of the draw, but it came to a very bad end. Here's that World card. And it's caused you to see the world in a different way. Or see the world through new eyes. In the future, you've got the King of Wands, which means you're going to go and do something. A big thing. At the bottom of this deck is the Lovers. Are we looking at a divorce here? So you know everything fell apart and it was a bad ending, and maybe you knew it was just a matter of time before it fell apart. But there's something that you don't know yet, and you're keeping an eye on it. It's almost like you've got to watch over your back or listen from around the corner. Stand in the dark and listen from around the corner. Cancer, I wonder if your spouse is cheating on you. And are you working to rebuild that commitment? And are you having issues of trust? You know, this card of the Lovers always asks us to make a choice about where our commitment lies. You know, the thing about the Lovers is traditionally, like if you go back in the history of this card, it's a person having to make a choice between two lovers. Look at this. I was just saying that the Page of Swords is that there's something you don't know about, and you're kind of like watching and keeping your eye out. And then right under the Lover's card, there's this interesting Seven of Swords. Usually the Seven of Swords has the reputation of a liar or a thief. But sometimes I almost regard this card a little bit like the Page of Swords. One of the interpretations of the Page of Swords is that it's a spy or it's somebody who's really watchful. And I was just saying how the Page of Swords is keeping an eye on something, watching over their back, or standing in the shadows listening to a conversation at the door. And that's exactly what this one looks like he's doing. That's so uncanny. Waiting, and you're wondering if you should leave. You're wondering if you should leave. And here's the Fool. Here's the power of the Fool radiating from the side, starting a whole new journey there. I think this is a marital problem. I kind of think it's an infidelity, but I'm not really sure. But you see yourself as the Knight of Wands, so you're somebody taking action. The whole thing is, the Knight of Wands can also be somebody who's like, you know, kind of promiscuous. Cancer, are you having an affair in your marriage? Because other people see you as the Queen of Wands. And what is the Queen of Wands? Somebody who's sexy, somebody who's very good looking, somebody with a lot of charisma. She's the kind of woman who gets a lot of attention just when she walks in the room, because she has that energy about her. And a possible outcome is the Hierophant. I wonder if you're going to go to some sort of counseling. That's what it looks like to me. Somebody in a marriage is being unfaithful, Cancer. I don't know if it's you or if it's your partner. It might be you. You might end up in counseling, seeking help, which I think is a good idea. That's a good idea. And where you can kind of battle it out with each other with some mediation and some boundaries and some safe space. Because the commitment is on the line, and I see you at a point in time where you're trying to make a decision. Cancer, maybe you're not the one listening at the door. Maybe somebody's listening at the door to see what you're saying and doing. Both of these are tens. Both the Wheel and the Ten of Swords, of course, are tens, which means they're indicating an end. In this case, sort of a bad ending. This is a bad ending of the mind. I know it looks grisly and bloody. I'm not really seeing a murder here. That's not what I'm seeing. This is a sword card. Swords are of the mind. The World is a card of endings. It's not a 10, but it's a card of endings. It's the ending of a cycle, so that a new cycle can begin. And Cancer, the Fool card has come up in your reading twice. Once it's sitting over here in the shadows, and then once it's down here in the deck of the Tarot of the Abyss. Here's the Lovers that need to make a decision. Here's the one that looks like he's listening or watching at the door. Here's the one for waiting. Also, this is the card of looking at our investment. What have we put into something? We were building something. What energy and resources did we put into it? And it's kind of can also be the card of analysis. Sometimes this card comes up as failure. Sometimes you look at what you've invested in and you find it was a failure. Not all the time. But underneath that, here's the Fool. You know, so the Fool's not far away in this deck either. And underneath the Fool is the Eight of Cups. The one who had something but needed to walk away nonetheless. Not walking away from an empty situation. Those are 8 full cups and they're not broken. But there's some reason why the person had to walk away, because they were looking for their 9. They were looking for something better. They were looking for their wish fulfillment. Oh, Cancer. Maybe you're walking away from one love because it's not quite what you want. And you're facing the reality of that. It's not quite what you want. It would be great if you would drop a comment drop a comment on this reading, Cancer, and let me know if this resonates at all with you. I think the last time I looked at Cancer, there was a Tower there too. They were leaving a situation. They felt that love had been withheld from them. And there had been a decision made to leave, and the Cancer is being celebrated by its friends. And they were going off. It looks like I'm looking at somebody who's still in this process. Well, of course, it is a process. Yeah, well, that's what I see is still going on here. So let me know. Let me know. It would be great to hear from you, Cancer. But that's what I have for right now. All right. Take care. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.